Hello, book lovers. So I finished The Bonesmith by Nicki Preto, and this was such a good book. One, it's a gorgeous book. I got this from Bookish. It's the special hardcover edition, and it's double-sided dust jacket. And so it's a gorgeous book, but it's also a really well written book. So this story is about Wren, who is a bonesmith. She is completing her last task at the beginning of the story to become a Valkyrn. In her final test, something goes wrong. She ends up getting banished to the breach fort, which is right next to the breach. So in this world, people have magical powers over certain elements. Bonesmiths have magical powers over bones. Goldsmiths have magical powers over gold, and ironsmiths have magical powers over iron. So the story before the start of this story is that the ironsmiths got too greedy and dug too deep and ended up releasing really bad evil magic in the breach area. So the rest of the kingdom had to band together and fight back the evil, the undead, and then they built this wall made of bones because bones repel the dead. And the ironsmiths were left on the other side of the wall while the rest of the kingdom stayed on the safe part of the wall. So the bonesmiths and Wren then are training to continue to release ghosts, because ghosts are then tethered to their bones and their bodies. And so if you destroy a certain part of their bones, then you release the ghosts, and then they're not able to harm people anymore. So that is what Wren is trying to do. She's trying to become this Valkyrn who helps release ghosts and is a fighter and a warrior. She ends up getting betrayed and sent off to the breach fort, which is along the wall of bones that separates the safe kingdom from the breach, which is filled with a bunch of undead. So while she's at the breach fort, a goldsmith prince comes to visit the fort, and his name is Leo. He ends up getting kidnapped while they're exploring the kingdom. He ends up getting kidnapped by a clan of ironsmiths, and it's being led by someone named Julian. But the ironsmith guards turn on Julian and they tried to assassinate him. He's fighting with Wren, the bonesmith, and so then they both go tumbling over the cliff. They both decide that they are going to work together to get to the goldsmith prince, Leo, and figure out what they're going to do after that. But they need to work together in order to cross this haunted breach section, because he knows the way to get there, and she can kill the ghosts and the undead that are going to be trying to attack them in the meantime. And then they're both fighters, so if they run across people, then they can work together. Julian is part of the ironsmith. The rest of the kingdom hates ironsmiths because they're the reason why all of this evil energy has been unleashed on the world, and why there's all these undead now attacking. So Julian has something to prove. He wants to use Leo as a bargaining chip to get back into the good graces of the rest of the kingdom. Wren wants to rescue Leo, then to show her father and grandmother, who really hates her, that she is worthy of their name and she is worthy of their love, and to have them then bring her back into their family, because right now she's on the outs with all of them. So there's a lot of lore that has to get built up in this book, and the author does a phenomenal job in really explaining the lore, the magic, the politics of this realm in a very easy to understand way. And it's not that thick of a book. I mean, it's a decent book, but it's not Brandon Sanderson book. But she's able to fit all of that in here, And then, of course, there's a little bit of chemistry between Ren and Julian that we get to see develop. The character develop of Ren starting out as a very self-centered, just wanting to prove her worth, and then she ends up developing into a person who wants the best for her kingdom and for the people that she cares about, even if she doesn't know them, is really good to see. Now, this book does have a few different points of view, but if it does jump into other points of view, they don't usually last very long. It's usually from the point of Ren. So if you're one of those people that don't like multiple points of view, it might trip you up a little bit. This is the first book in a 2-part series, and as soon as I got done with this one, I immediately went and downloaded the second audiobook and started listening to it. I am holding out on buying the second book because I'm really hoping that Bookish, where I got this one, is going to come out with a really pretty version of Ghostsmith. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I'm like on their newsletters and everything, hoping that I see a book to match this one for the second one. But in the meantime, until that happens, I'm going to keep a lookout for this author and read some of her other books. And until next time, remember, you are enough just the way you are, and go get lost in some pages. All right, bye.